We wrongly shifted. We're getting back in track. Now we're talking about She-Hulk and that mess. But that's success. Depends on how you look at it.
I gotta be honest with you guys. It's the last episode was so bad that I was like, they can only go up from here. And yeah, there's, it wasn't as bad as last week, but like the graphic says, please make it stop. I am in agony, as that Key and Peele sketch would say. The episode was, like I said, a step up from the one before it, but we've got things like Titania is suing She-Hulk, or what's her character name, Jen Walters, for copyright infringement because she trademarked the She-Hulk name first to use as her fashion line, and she's a super powered influencer. And I'm like,
okay. No, I mean, I'm literally like, my skin is crawling right now because of how gross all of that is. The self-awareness of that, the uselessness of trying to like make it relevant that way is so disgusting to me. I mean, it's literally repulsive.
There's some irony in what you just said too, right? The usefulness of trying to make it relevant. It's like, I don't know, would you call it an oxymoron? Whatever you want to,
I don't know. It's just like, what does that do? She's an influencer. She has a fashion line. So now She-Hulk is a Kardashian who twerks with Megan Thee Stallion. I'm not happy about it. It's just, ugh. Oh my God.
And then they've almost like made a mockery of Wong. It's I mean, they had Donnie Blaze in this, which again, cameos, hint, Easter eggs galore. But I honestly don't know. I mean, then she's dating, which was hinted at in the trailers before all of this started. But like, you look at the kind of stuff that's happening here, and honestly, I don't know where this show is going. That's the biggest thing for me. It's like we are 4 episodes in, and even episodic television, right? Like you watch a 26 episode season of the X-Files, you would have the first couple episodes really get you going on what the season arc was. And then, they would do Monster of the Week episodes, and then maybe here and there they would have like a long-term arc episode basically. And then the mid-season finale and premiere would happen, and then you would wrap up the season arc at the end. This show has not hinted at what the big story is yet.
What's the plan for the number of episodes in this season?
There's 9.
6. Was it 9?
There's 9.
9?
Yeah.
And so this was episode 4?
4. Yeah.
And okay, so we're halfway through and we have no idea where it's going.
Right. I mean,
so let me ask
we've got like hints of a conflict, but 4 episodes in, I'm like, I don't care if the episodes are 20 minutes or 50 minutes apiece. 4 episodes into a show, you should know exactly where this thing is headed. Otherwise, you've got problems. Yeah. Like it's a writing problem, like beyond anything else. I mean,
this show has
forget the bad
CGI. Good share of writing problems. Roland, what were you gonna ask?
I just I've been seeing a lot of things on like Twitter and stuff like that saying how people were so upset about the Megan Thee Stallion thing and like her twerking and being dumb and silly and stuff like that. So what do you guys say of I don't know, maybe the contradiction of like, oh, if we saw Deadpool do this, you wouldn't have this much hate that's going around. If we had like this other kind of,
are people saying that kind of stuff?
Yeah. People are saying.
Here, let me be super clear. I think it's cheap when Deadpool does it. I think it's dumb. The useless cameos, the pandering. It happened in Pinocchio too, where they reference Chris Pine in Pinocchio. Like what you've done is,
because his last name is Pine and Pinocchio is made of pine wood. Oh my God!
What you've done is you've rendered your movie irrelevant as soon as people forget who Chris Pine is. So whereas Pinocchio, the animated movie, will be relevant probably
timeless.
Forever.
Yeah.
You have now tarnished it with pop culture, and you have made it time full. It's not timeless.
Right.
That is a great point, and I have thought about that with Ryan Reynolds. That we love him to death, and he makes all these awesome, almost inside jokes, because he's mentioning pop culture and 80s things. But you fast forward 20 years and these movies
Who's
that
gonna
we're
care?
thinking are timeless are going to be so out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the thing, when you mentioned the whole fourth wall breaks and like, the twerking and all that stuff, I I see Deadpool doing that. I mean, okay, so there's two Deadpool movies, and you go back and you watch those. Most of the fourth wall breaks, not every single one of them, but the vast majority of them, they're done well. They're well written. Because the thing is, a good fourth wall break is witty, it's well acted, it's well timed, it's well placed.
And also
In this
Ryan
show,
Reynolds
the
was well
writing is
cast
so
in that.
bad.
He does that. He does fourth wall stuff. Even his TikTok stuff, like the thing he did with Will Ferrell. He's mastered that. It's part of his personality, to be self-aware. Even as early as Van Wilder, he was always commenting on the situation he was in as a form of comedy, and it worked. That's who he is. So
I guess the point I'm trying to make, and to get away from Ryan Reynolds, because this is about She-Hulk. Would you say that whenever they're self-aware and they're not afraid to be dumb and goofy, does that completely takes away any seriousness in the writing for you guys the moment they start making silly jokes like that?
I think the thing about this show is that they said from the outset that we're not going to take it too seriously, but they haven't been consistent. And so some of their social messaging is really like, we're not sure if we're supposed to be laughing at that because it's so laughably written. And then the humor doesn't land because it's like, well, you were just scolding us for, the way society is. So are we now supposed to laugh at this? Like, it's the character's sense of humor, the writer's sense of humor is inconsistent, and it's not communicating itself well. Whereas with Deadpool, the reason it works is because it's a movie. It's written to be consistent from start to finish. And it's all, that is the point, is that it's a self-aware character. Here, yes, She-Hulk has a history of being self-aware and doing the fourth wall breaks, but I think they've gotten caught up in the trends of social progress and pop culture trends to just
it's part of it is that. So part of it is this show is trying to do way too much with way too little time, and then whenever they try to tackle like social issues, like bringing up the whole idea of how people are like, oh, now everybody, like, why do they have all these female superheroes and where are the guys at and all that stuff. But the point is, when they bring up those kind of elements, the way it's written is like preaching and talking down to your audience rather than bringing it up as naturally within the story, and then maybe trying to make a point through the story itself rather than a character just saying it in dialogue.
You know what the tone of this show is? The tone of this show is a librarian who's telling you to shut up, and then is trying to crack a joke with you so that you like her.
Yeah, right. And then the other part of it is, like you said, Roland, like, is it like, would we be having the same reaction when Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool is doing like twerking or whatever? The problem that I've had, the biggest reason why I don't like some of those elements, is there's so much lacking with the fundamentals of the show that when they start doing these extraneous things that you're like, those should be the sprinkles on top of the ice cream or the cherry on top of a cake kind of moments that only add to the fun and the gloriously well executed rest of the show or movie. In this case, you're like, everything else like falls so short, from the writing of the dialogue to the way the whole thing is paced to how overstuffed it is with cameos that almost seemingly purposely detract away from the main character. The fact that we don't get enough character development from the main, for She-Hulk and Jen Walters, not to mention screen time. When those things are lacking so much, those like fourth wall breaks and those like, those kind of cameo moments that will usually feel like, oh, I'm getting all the good stuff, and then this is like some extra bonus that I can get. Here it feels like, guys, get the basics right first, then worry about this. You know, like
Yeah.
so for me, like that's the perception of it, and it's for better or worse. Like I said, if those moments were tacked onto a better written, more well executed show, it wouldn't feel as bad as it does here because the rest of the show is so bad.
Okay.
I think that nails it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, She-Hulk, I'm going to tell you, stop or, rewrite it or just, I don't know. I'm not interested. I jumped off after episode 1. If for some reason you think that they're doing a great job, let us know. We'll see what you have to say, but you better do a good job trying to convince us. Comment your thoughts, share and subscribe, and join us in our movie fan community. We're watching everything. We're talking about it all.